Hey guys, so as a lot of you already know, I signed up to be a precinct official in tomorrow's election. Something I've never done before, something I've always wanted to do, but I've spent the last 12 years of my life in a newsroom on election night. So actually having the opportunity to work a poll is unbelievably exciting for me and probably going to be pretty fulfilling. That being said, not to, I think, anyone's surprise, certainly not my own, as I continue through this process of training and learning about what I'm doing, I've noticed that the age gap in people working the polls is pretty heavily tilted toward those who are elderly. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's certainly becoming a much more technological age regarding voting. I mean, regarding everything, but certainly voting, and it's becoming more and more difficult for the elderly to keep up with it. So it is increasingly necessary for people of our age, 20s, 30s, 40s, to engage in the bureaucratic electioneering process. So tonight I've debated back and forth on whether I wanted to even do a video about this whole process, but after seeing a meme, that one, I decided to go ahead and do a video. My wife has come up with some questions she's going to ask regarding voting, regarding why your vote matters, and then how you can sign up to be an election official as well.
I'm not sure where I am supposed to vote tomorrow. How can I find that out?
The state election board on ok.gov has all that information for you. You can enter it in, and when you enter it in, it'll tell you what your precinct is, and I believe you can even download a sample ballot.
So when I go vote tomorrow, is it important to fill out every box that's there, or can I leave some blank?
You actually can leave some blank. So a lot of people will go vote and only want to vote for candidates they know and races they understand, races they followed. For instance, an example that was used was back when we had the medical marijuana question in June on the primary ballot. A lot of people didn't feel comfortable voting one way or the other, so they simply left it blank. That is totally your right and will in no way affect the races you voted in.
I don't know much about the state questions this year. How can I find out more before I vote?
So there's a wonderful website called Ballotpedia. So if you're a little confused, you're going to vote at lunch or tomorrow night, you can log on to Ballotpedia, get a sample ballot, go through everything that's going to be on your ballot, have information about the state questions, and also information about the politicians running in particular races that you're going to be voting in. So if you have some outlying questions regarding candidate X or Y, you still have the opportunity to gain that information in a quick and easily consumable manner using Ballotpedia.
What if I feel like my vote doesn't matter? So many people say that they don't want to vote because they think their vote doesn't matter. Can you tell me why it does?
Everyone's vote matters, no matter what your views are. So I'll give you an example from my time as a journalist. We were covering an election, a small one in Rush Springs. It was a bond issue regarding storm shelters for the schools, and in the state of Oklahoma, bond issues have to pass 60% of the vote. Unfortunately, the vote failed with 40 to 60% with 3 outliers. So that means that if 3 more people had voted, and since they changed their vote from dissent to yay, it would have passed.
So I just recently got around to changing my last name on my voter ID card. I am no longer Chelsea Wilson, I'm now Chelsea Bright.
Woohoo.
Had I not changed that, would I have not been able to vote tomorrow?
So if you have a discrepancy between your name on the rolls and your identification, they are not going to hand you a ballot. That being said, you still have the right to vote. You can ask for what's called a provisional ballot. A provisional ballot will allow you to vote in any precinct, assuming that you give the correct information. If you give false information and found out that you knowingly give false information, you'll have a date with the respective district attorney. But there are mix-ups, there's information that gets lost, or maybe just information hasn't been updated, and you still want to be able to cast your ballot, cast your vote. So if there is an issue, do not forget to ask for a provisional ballot.
Can you tell me what everybody at the polling places do? I feel like there's always at least 2 or 3, sometimes 4 people there. What are their jobs?
So there's always a minimum of 3, and they have distinctly different jobs. There's the judge, the clerk, and the inspector. I will be playing the role of the inspector tomorrow, which is basically overseeing the entire process. I picked up all the information we need tonight, the ballot box, picked up the ballots themselves, picked up pens, you name it, signage, I've got it. In the back of my car. Tomorrow the judge will basically sign you in, make sure your name matches what's on your ID, and then the clerk will give you a ballot to cast your vote and then mark in the book that they gave you ballot XXX number, so we can keep track of the amount of ballots cast versus our number of ballots we gave out.
Thanks for answering all my questions, Inspector James. Say, I've been so intrigued and I'm curious for more information on how to become a precinct official. How do I do that?
Well, that's a great question, and one that really is the point of everything I'm doing. Precinct officials tend to be older, and there's nothing wrong with that, as I said earlier, but it's vastly important that younger people get involved in the political process, not just on the politics side, on the liberal conservative side, but actually in the facilitating of voting. So all you need to do is contact your local county voting office, contact your secretary there, and they will happily give you the information to sign up. You do about a 2-hour training to become a judge or a clerk. If you want to become an inspector, it's an additional hour, hour and a half, where you'd go to the actual facility, the election board, and they would train you on how the machines work. And you get paid a whopping $86 for 12 to 13 hours of work of Uncle Sam's money. Guys, thank you so much if you made it to the end of this video sticking with me. I do want to emphasize that it is unbelievably important that you vote. No one should ever make you feel that your views are any more important or any less important than anyone else's. So please exercise your right to vote. It's just, again, cannot be overstated how important it is, just so as a country, as a city, as a state, we can all coalesce in a vision that matches closely to what we all want. It's never always gonna be idyllic, it's never always gonna align perfectly, but I think together we can get close to what we all want. It's just a matter of pushing past vitriolic rhetoric and actually working together and understanding we have different opinions that can find a cohesive journey.